The river is clogged with corpses. Men, women, children, bloated bodies drifting downstream. Crows circle overhead, tearing strips of flesh from the swollen dead. The air reeks of smoke and rot. Nanjing, once a jewel of China, now a graveyard. Death chokes every street, silence heavier than stone. This isn't World War I, it isn't World War II. Yet the Taiping Rebellion killed more people than the First World War, and almost rivals the Second. 20 million, maybe 30. Entire provinces vanished into dust. This was the Taiping Rebellion, the deadliest war in history. And you were never told. At its center was Hong Xiuquan, not a general, not a noble, a failed student who carried visions of heaven. He dreamed of passing the civil service exams, the only ladder to power. 4 times he tried, 4 times he failed. Each rejection crushed him deeper. He collapsed into delirium. Visions devoured his mind. He claimed he walked in paradise, spoke to angels, and returned chosen. Hong declared himself the younger brother of Jesus Christ, destined to purge China of demons, the Qing dynasty, blasphemy to some. But to millions of starving peasants, it was salvation. The Qing were corrupt, bloated, and rotting from within. Famines, floods, and plague stalked the land. Taxes broke families. Farmers sold children to survive. Hong's words spread like wildfire. He promised equality. He promised land. He promised peace. Tens of thousands rallied to him, then hundreds of thousands. By 1853, his armies stormed Nanjing. They seized it and renamed it Tianjin, the heavenly capital. A rival state was born, but heaven quickly became hell. Inside Hong's kingdom, rules suffocated life. Alcohol banned, opium banned, gambling banned. Even intimacy between husband and wife regulated. Break the code and you died. What began in hope hardened into tyranny. Hong declared himself ruler of all under heaven. He was no prophet of peace. He was emperor of blood. Society was ripped apart and rebuilt in his image. Women once crippled by foot binding now marched with spears. Some commanded armies, a nightmare for Qing elites, a revelation for the desperate. Land was seized from landlords and redistributed to peasants. Families reorganized into military blocks. Every household became part of Hong's war machine. The Taiping were no longer rebels. They were an empire, but revolution bled into horror. Taiping armies razed towns to the ground. Qing forces retaliated with massacres. The peasants, always the peasants, paid the price. A missionary wrote, "Not a cock crowed, not a dog barked." Whole provinces emptied of life. Archaeology still remembers. Ash buried in the soil, mass graves stacked with bones, coins stamped by the rebels, relics of a kingdom baptized in blood. China became a furnace, and the people, its fuel. While millions starved, Qing elites gorged themselves on silk and banquets. Music echoed through palaces as famine stalked the land outside. And the world watched. Britain, France, America. At first, missionaries mistook Hong's kingdom for Christian. But when merchants saw trade threatened, sympathy vanished. The West chose profit over truth. They armed the Qing with rifles, cannons, and advisors. Foreign powers tilted the balance. In 1864, Nanjing fell in flames. The heavenly capital reduced to ash. Hong Xiuquan was already dead, poisoned or starved, no one knows. His empire of visions collapsed. The cost? At least 20 million lives, maybe 30. More than World War I, rivaling World War II. And yet, you've never heard of it. The Qing called it humiliation. Europe called it inconvenient. Textbooks called it nothing. The deadliest war in history, erased. So the question remains, if this war could vanish from history, what else are we never told?